If you want to study in vocational courses and you want to do it in the US, then I have the most perfect option for you, the US M1 visa. This visa allows you to take courses in cooking classes, technical courses, mechanical classes, flight schools, and cosmetology. Hi, this is Max from the Visa Library. Waste no time and subscribe to our channel because I want to tell you about the US M1 visas, their requirements, conditions, processing time, and how to apply for them. What is a US M1 visa? An M1 visa allows the students to study full-time in the United States, obtain a driver's license, open a bank account, access healthcare, and work under certain conditions. They can also transfer schools within the first 6 months of their program. On the other hand, holders of the M1 visa cannot work full-time outside of campus, cannot study and complete vocational program as a part-time student, cannot change program or institution 6 months after the start of the program, and cannot continue higher education at the undergraduate or other degrees. Fortunately, there are no restrictions on the annual visa issuance and you can apply for the visa without any limitations. What are the eligibility conditions for an M1 visa? Number 1, admission from a SEVP institution. The Student Exchange Visitor Program, or SEVP, contains a list of institutions that offer vocational courses and admit students under the M1 visa. So, if you want to qualify for this visa, you must first get admission from one of these institutions. After receiving admission, the institute will issue a form I-20. Number 2, English proficiency. You must be able to understand and speak English. You also need to be able to understand lectures well and discuss class concepts. You can take tests such as IELTS or TOEFL to prove English proficiency. Number 3, return to your home country. As an M1 visa applicant, you must prove that you will return to your home country after completing this course. For this, you'll need to provide documents related to your assets in your country, employment commitments, and family ties. Number 4, financing during the study. You have to prove that you can afford your expenses in the United States. The form I-20 issued by the institute estimates the cost for 1 year in the United States. You must prove you can cover it. If you plan to bring your family members to the country, you must prove that you can finance their stay. Now, how can you apply for an M1 visa? Step 1, issuance of I-20 form. You must first receive admission from an institution, then the vocational institute issues form I-20. By receiving this form, your admission process will begin. Step 2, complete DS-160 form. At this step, you must complete the DS-160 form. This form contains questions about your background, information, and the purpose of your trip to the United States. The link for both of those forms are on our website. I will put the link in the description, so don't worry. Step 3, pay the application fee. The cost of applying for an M1 visa is $160, which must be paid by the applicant. You keep the payment receipt with you. You may also have to pay for visa issuance depending on the relationship between your country and the United States. Since all international students are registered in SEVIS, $200 must be paid as SEVIS I-901. Step 4, schedule an interview. All individuals between the ages of 14 to 79 need to attend a visa interview. You need to schedule your interview. After you have made this appointment, you will obtain a confirmation letter that you need to bring on the day of your interview. Step 5. Prepare the required documents. Let's see. Number 1, a passport. It must be valid for at least 6 months from the date of visa expiration. Number 2, photos. Number 3, Form I-20 and a copy of it. Number 4, Form DS-160 confirmation page. Number 5, receipts of payments. Number 6, visa interview confirmation letter. Number 7, applicant's educational qualification, including diplomas, transcripts, the result of the language test, etc. Number 8, evidence that the applicant can cover their expenses, such as a bank statement for the last 3 years, tax information on the last 3 years, and scholarships. Step 6. Participate in the visa interview. It is recommended to have a photo with you on the day of the interview. Visa officers will ask you some questions about your background, your education, and the purpose of your trip to the United States. You have to answer all of those questions honestly. Go to our article about this visa and you will see a list of possible questions that may be asked in that interview. Another thing, how long does it take to issue an M1 visa? The processing time of documents and issuing a USA M1 visa is relatively short. In fact, the processing is done before the interview. And on the day of the interview, you will be immediately informed of the results of your application. At the end of the interview, the consular officer congratulates you or explains the reasons for your rejection. In most cases, the processing time for an M1 visa is up to 4 weeks. Even if the period is more extended, do not worry. The workload of different embassies varies. No problem. Another thing, how long is the M1 visa valid? The validity of your permission depends on the duration of the vocational program. Your visa may be valid for the entire study period or shorter. However, Form I-20 is only valid for 1 year. It means that you must reply for a Form I-20 at the end of 1 year. If you want to apply for a visa extension, you must complete Form I-539 and submit it to the USCIS. One question, can M1 visa holders change their visa status? Yes, but there are limitations. For example, they cannot obtain a student visa and it is a bit difficult to change their visa to H-1B. Also, you cannot change your visa to a green card. To receive a green card, you must have extraordinary abilities, marry an American citizen or a person who has legal US citizenship. One more thing, you can make an economic investment with a minimum of $500,000. Can the visa holder bring their dependents to this country? Yes. They can bring their spouse and children under the age of 21 to the United States on an M2 visa. I will put the link of our article about the M2 visa in the description. Another question, can you work with an M1 visa? You can only work part-time or full-time on campus in your field of study. When the school is open, you can work part-time and full-time during breaks. The maximum time you can work is 6 months. To work, you must obtain an Employment Authorization Document or EAD. To receive this certification, you must submit Form I-538 to the USCIS. This form must be signed by your designated school official or DSO. One more question. Can you change an M1 visa to an H-1B visa? Yes. The M1 visa holders can change their visa status to H-1B visa, but as I mentioned earlier, it's a bit difficult. To do this, you need a job offer from an employer in the US so you can apply for an H-1B visa. It could be hard to find a job offer, and the employer needs to file a petition to USCIS so the applicant can continue to apply for a visa. One more question. Can an M1 visa holder marry a US citizen? Yes, no problem. You can marry a US citizen, but you need to wait for your priority date to become current. If your spouse is a US citizen, you do not have to wait, and you can complete the procedures and receive the green card. Do Canadians need an M1 visa? Canadian citizens do not require a visa to study in the US. However, they need a visa status when crossing the US-Canada borders. Receiving the I-20 or DS 2019 certificate of eligibility from a US university is necessary. When a Canadian student receives the I-20, he or she will be registered with SEVIS. The applicant will get a SEVIS number and have to pay the fees. Canadian students will need some documents to cross the border and begin their studies. They'll need an original Canadian passport, the original I-20 or DS 2019 certificate, evidence of paid SEVIS fee, proof of ties to Canada, and proof of financial independence to pay the tuition fees and living costs. Can you exchange your M1 visa to an F1 visa? The overall answer to this question is no. But in some exceptional cases, you might have permission to do so. If the student has been classified as an M1 incorrectly while he or she was an F1 student and can prove it was not his or her fault, the visa might be converted. The M1 visa holder needs to submit some documents to the service office which has authority over the school the student was last authorized to attend. The requirements are: number 1, the Form I-20. It must come from the US school the applicant wants to attend. Number 2, current I-20 form of the student and a copy of it. Number 3, the Form I-94 of the student. Number 4, a formal letter from the designated school official or DSO of the school which the student was last permitted to attend. It explains the reasons that the DSO believes that the student's non-immigrant classification should be changed from M1 to an F1 student visa. Well, that was a lot to uncover. Fortunately, we did it. So you can go and have an easy time applying for your M1 visa. Since I was so helpful, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and like the video. The link to different forms I mentioned are on our visa library website. I will put the link of our website and article in the description. You can also go to our website and download the free cheat sheet I put there. Thank you all for watching.